to Health Check, where we'll share practical wellness tips and bring you deep insights from medical professionals.
Maritime Frontiers will dissect issues on port operations and more.
Every time we talk about sport, it's everything that has to do with sport from the top to the finish. Just be with us, stay with us all of the time. We give you sporting activities just as you unfold, and that's what we do, and that's why we are called Voice of the People TV, and you already know.
We got you all covered.
Here, you have more than a voice.
Good morning and welcome to the Friday's edition of VOP this morning on Voice of the People Television. Today is Friday and it's also the 27th day in the month of June 2025, and I have quite interesting topics to x-ray this morning, and one of them is about the tax reform deals that the president signed. Now it's no longer a tax reform deal, it's now an act here in Nigeria. President Tinubu signs new tax laws, but rejects NDLEA funding bill amid surging drug crisis and tax pressure. Also on our radar today, State of the Nation. Public budgets can't fix Nigeria. President Tinubu says so as Nigerians ask, then what will? He is also, talking about going for public-private partnership, the Triple P, to be the way forward, as he encouraged Nigerians to do what? To invest not just, financially or in Nigeria as a nation, but to bring in innovation and every other, infrastructural development that they can lay hands on. Also, we'll have a third topic, which is about the River State politics. Interestingly, this morning we got a news that says that it's more like the feud between Wike and Fubara, and the lawmakers in River State finally has come to an end over the fact that Wike, Fubara, and even the president and also the House of the State House Assembly members, they met with president yesterday on a peace meeting, and I believe they brokered peace during that meeting.
Oh, yes. They seem to be talking peace right now, and we've seen them shaking hands. We've seen them joking together. So there seems to be peace closer than before in River State, and I do believe that in the coming days the sole administrator will hand over to the elected governor, and things will get back to normal. Democracy will once again take the forefront in River State. But I still ask the question, at what cost? At what cost? Well, the parties involved, they seem to have agreed on something. And also, does this mean that the governor, will have a free sail, a smooth sail, if he intends to run for another term in office? But we wait to see. We wait to see what pans out in River State. And of course, it will be nice to see the people reap the benefits of democracy in the state. I think that's what matters most at this time. Oh well, let's take a break. Let's take a quick break, and we will be back to continue with some other conversations right here. Stay with us.
We encourage you to click on the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are Voice of the People TV. Also follow us on all our social media platforms. We are at VOP TV Live. Visit our website www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. Also watch us live on SLTV channel 264. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television.
We are the station that brings you stories from the people's perspective.
We'll let your voice be heard. On Political Lens, we'll bring you deeper insights into happenings within the polity.
We create equality of representative opinion and fairness in politics, economic and diverse conversations.
Here, we bring you breaking news, fresh perspectives, as well as fact-based analysis.
Watch our extraordinary shows from the People's Voice, where we get to amplify the stories and concerns of everyday Nigerians, to hashtag.
To Health Check, where we share practical wellness tips and bring you deep insights from medical professionals.
Maritime Frontiers, we dissect issues on port operations and more.
Every time we talk about sport, it's everything that has to do with sport, from the top to the finish. Just be with us, stay with us all of the time. We give you sporting activities just as you unfold, and that's what we do, and that's why we are called Voice of the People TV, and you already know.
We got you all covered.
Here, you have more than a voice.
The red carpets, awards, the razzmatazz, music, fashion, interviews, and more. Spotlight on Voice of the People Television. Let's feed you with all the juicy stories in the global entertainment space, bringing you the glitz and glamour as they hot. Stay tuned to Spotlight, 1 p.m. Monday to Friday. Spotlight on VOP TV. Entertainment like never before. Good morning. It's the start of a beautiful day. Well, start your day right with a healthy dose of news, fun, and inspiration. Join us on VOP this morning for the latest news, trending topics, and uplifting stories to set your day on the right vibe. From news and current events to lifestyle and entertainment, you are covered.
VOP This Morning, 8 a.m. Monday through Friday. Are you ready for the extraordinary? Something big is happening on your screen. Introducing VOP TV. Now streaming on SLTV channel 264. From breaking news to captivating conversations, news analysis, giving you all sides to the story. We bring in-depth discussions on the issues that matter, from politics to sports, entertainment, and lifestyle. VOP TV on SLTV channel 264. Join us as we redefine what television means to you. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
To know the happenings in the maritime sector, join us on the program Maritime Frontiers on VOP TV as we discuss key areas in the maritime sector, from aquaculture, maritime transportation, maritime labor regulation, oil and gas exploration, ferry and passenger insurance, marine pollution and prevention, port operations, and lots more.
Join me on Sundays every 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. on Voice of the People TV.
Maritime Frontiers, exploring Nigeria's blue economy.
Voice of the People Television awuchiela o onye nụ ya ka ọrụ ibe ya. Ị chọrọ ịmata akụkọ ndị gbara n'akwụkwọ akụkọ dị iche iche n'ala anyị kwa ụbọchị. Ị chọrọ ịmata ka o si afịatụ na ndọrọndọrọ ọchịchị, agụmakwụkwọ, azụmahịa, ime njem, ọbụla dị egwuregwu. Ngwa sonyere anyị n'oge ndị Igbo na Voice of the People Television. Anyị nwere ndị ọbịa bụ ọkachamara, bụkwa ndị ga-enye aka tapịa isiokwu ndị anyị jiri bịa kwa ụbọchị. Anyị ga-eji ka o siri gbaa n'akwụkwọ akụkọ dị iche iche wee malite tupu anyị akọzie n'uju n'ubi onye anyị bịara na nke ya.
Ịgbamụrụ nzem ọzọ kedụkosi aga ya gaziere onye ukwu ma gaziere onye nta.
Mkparịta ụka tọrọ atọ ka anyị ga-ewetara gị, bụkwa nke ga-eme ka ịmata ka ihe si aga n'ala anyị bụ Naịjirịa, ọbụla dị na mba ofesi. Oge ndị Igbo na Voice of the People Television ga na-abịara gị site n'ụbọchị Mọnde ruo Fraịde na SLTV channel 264. Ekwekwala ka akọrọ gị ya akọrọ. Chetakwa na ọ bụ na SLTV channel 264 ka ị ga-ekiri Voice of the People Television. Voice of the People Television, ugbu a ị nwere karịa olu.
Is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being of an individual. It's the fundamental right of everyone to enjoy the highest attainable standard of health, without distinction of race, religion, or political belief. On VOP TV, we bring you Health Check, a show that x-rays different health issues and provides solutions with the help of experts in the medical field. Join us every Saturday, 2 p.m. on Health Check. Health Check on VOP TV. Your health, our priority.
Ever wonder what inspires your favorite gospel artists? Explore and discover the rich heritage of continental gospel music and how this transformative journey has evolved and shaped cultures around the world. As we dig deep into archival treasures, feel the energy in our praise jam, Gospel Fusion on Voice of the People television. Tune in this Sunday, 3 to 4 p.m. and be part of a transformative experience that uplifts and inspires. Join us as we explore the transformative power of gospel music and its ability to uplift spirits and unite hearts. Tune in this Sunday, 3 to 4 p.m. on Voice of the People television. Gospel Fusion. Let's fuse our hearts in praise and joy.
Everybody keep watching Voice of the People. All right? Love you all.
Hello, sweetie. What's going on? My name is Kiki. Keep watching VOP TV. Thanks.
Hey guys, what's going on? Olumide Oru, the Fresh Prince of Lagos here, and this is VOP TV, guys.
Hello guys, I want you to please keep on watching VOP TV.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Hafiz Oyetoro. Please keep watching VOP TV.
Shout out to VOP TV.
Very big shout out to the fans and lovers of VOP TV. My name is Tayo Fanyuro. I'm an actor that you are going to live to love. Keep watching. Cheers.
Hi everyone, so shout out to VOP TV.
Hi, my name is Tosin Mohammed. I'm a gospel artist. Keep watching VOP TV.
Almighty Father, you are the mighty Redeemer. We've come to worship at your feet, oh Lord. This is Ayotunde Adejimo, chilling with you on the Voice of the People TV. Don't touch that remote. You are where God wants you to be. Listening to the Voice of the People TV.
The Bible says we should give thanks in all circumstances. And all circumstances include the good times and the bad, the high times and the low, the times when everything look as if they are going well, and those times when Enugbe, the ground is dry like the sand in the desert. Those times when you feel like giving up, you should give thanks still. My name is Jeff Melu, and I'm a gospel poet. And you should keep watching VOP TV. Don't touch that dial.
Yes, sir. Kábíyèsí Olúọ̀run, we were born to give you twale, to give you worship. People of God, you are watching Voice of the People TV, and my name is Flo Rocker. I encourage you to listen to things of the gospel. You know, we live in a very perilous times where there are some things you watch on television, you will lose faith, you will lose God. Keep your eyes on Voice of the People TV and remain blessed. Flo Rocker.
Oh, well, we do apologize for that technical hitch, but we're back. And of course, ready to serve you breakfast right here on VOP TV. Well, this is VOP This Morning. And I think I haven't said my name yet. Neither has Fina. Well, I am Moses Humphrey.
And I'm Fina Ichuku.
And of course, let's get into some conversations that Nigerians are having. The Lagos State government has launched an investigation into the controversial demolition of a property reportedly owned by the brother of a Labour Party presidential candidate, Peter Obi. The demolition, which triggered public outrage and political tension, was carried out in the highbrow area of Ikeja, GRA, with viral footage showing bulldozers flattening the multi-million naira building. Well, while the government claims the action was due to violations of physical planning laws, critics and Obi supporters alleged political witch hunting. Well, the state says a full report will be made public after the inquiry, but questions remain about due process and, of course, the timing of this one. Now, this issue happened on Wednesday, and I had, I voiced my displeasure with the timing and the optics of it. It looks bad. Of course, that's Peter Obi on the screen at the venue of the demolished house, venting, of course, and he also vented on social media. And, but in as much as Lagos State government has come out to say that, look, this is not state-sponsored, the state has nothing to do with this. It's an individual. I can't remember the name now of the lady, the claimant. It's an individual thing, all right? The state government has said they will investigate the matter. Now, in as much as this individual, name I can't remember at the moment, said, look, this land has been in dispute for a while. The court records that is online, and that I have seen, show that the dispute on the land, the court case started sometime in 2023, and it has lingered up until this time. But what I have a problem with, which of course Mr. Peter Obi also cited, is the fact that in the court documents that authorized for the building, for the place to be taken over, it did not state that the building, the structure on the land should be demolished. No, I didn't see that part in the documents provided. It didn't state that the building should be demolished. That's one. And also, it said unknown person. I mean, how do you serve an unknown person court papers? How do you take an unknown person to court? That's what I have a problem with. The name of the occupant wasn't stated, all right? And the court is, well, the individual, the claimant is saying that, look, that they were served documents severally and they refused to obey, they refused to come to court to, they refused to bring their case to court. But how do you serve an unknown person? If you're serving someone, then of course you know the person you're serving. You know the name of the person. The name of the person would be on the paper, the summons and the rest. The name of the individual would be there, but there was no name. It was indicated unknown. I wish we have the document, and I wish we can put that up. It's indicated unknown person, and that brings questions. There's a lot to unpack in this. But the Lagos State government has said, a Lagos State LASPCA, that's a Lagos State Building Control Agency, says they are on the matter, they are investigating, and they will make the investigation public. So at this point, I would like to wait and see the outcome of the investigation, and I do hope it will address pertinent questions.
Now, the thing is, how certain, how are Nigerians, or how are we going to be sure that the investigation, according to what the last LASBCA boss talked about, is going to be based on a free or fair, pattern of policy? Because yesterday, when he came up to say that they are not aware of that demolition, he also exonerated Wahab, who happens to be the Commissioner for Environment and Water Resources in Nigeria, Tukubo Wahab, saying that he doesn't know anything about that particular demolition. But he went further to describe Obi's claim as a game. Yes, that was what Adetumobi said, and he was asking him. As a what? I didn't get that. He made Obi's statement. He said it's a game. Yes, he said this is more like a game, and he was asking Obi. Yes. He describes Obi's concern as a game, asking him to firstly clear that state those responsible for the demolition clearly, that he should state them, saying that not going before the camera to make such a pronouncement or such declaration actually makes it more like a game. Now the question is this: how possible again is it that someone or an individual will be able to have what is it called now? Tractors or bulldozers to go pull down a house without getting proper notice from the state government.
The thing is, there's a lot of a lot of people take laws into their hands. A lot of people don't respect the constitutional order of things. I was watching a video of yesterday where the governor of Lagos State was in Magodo, and he was addressing some individuals, some security agents who were there to prevent the residents of the place from exercising some authority and all of that. And then the governor told the most senior officer that, look, call the AGF, call the IGP, and tell them that I am asking you to leave. And the person told the governor that, look, I will not do that. It's not in my place to call them. You call them. And the governor said, look, I've called them. So basically, the back and forth just to, reveal that certain actions are taken without proper, without looking at those who hold proper positions in the state. The governor is the chief security officer just on paper. He really doesn't have control over the security, architecture of the state. Individuals can go to court and say, look, this is what the court has given to me, and then you go ahead and demolish a property that you're not authorized to demolish. So if government agencies are saying they are not aware, okay, I will cut them some slack.
I'm not going to cut them any slack. If you want to erect, now let me tell you something more. Do you know if you want to build maybe something as tiny as a patio in your house, the next morning, in fact, get one trip of rat in front of your house. Forget about the chippies or the stone. The first thing you see in the morning is stop work. Lagos State government, stop work. And they'll put it, mark it X. Now you're telling me that the government authorities are not aware of what is happening, but they are aware of the fact that you have sand in front of your house. They don't know what you want to do with the sand. They don't know. But next thing you see in the morning is stop work. And the boys will be there to disturb you. So they cannot comfortably tell now, only if they are telling us now that our lives and property are not even secured in Lagos as the case may be.
A lot of people
because of the fact that, non-state actors take laws into their hands and they do what they want to do. So that shows I'm not safe, you're not safe. Because somebody can tomorrow meet you on the way and hack you and the government will tell you, we don't know anything about that. No, but that is how it is. If a building has been there for like 15 years, according to reports, someone can wake up and say, have court order, the government is aware of this, and pull down the building, and then someone is saying that this is more like a jail.
Investigation will continue.
We saw statements coming out from...
The claimant claims to be the owner of the land, and we hear that the property has been in dispute. I mean, it's... what I said on Wednesday on Newspaper Review, which I reiterated yesterday, is that for the optics, this looks really bad. For the optics, bad. It looks bad. And it's not about who is involved. I mean, this is out in the open because of who is involved, but it could happen to anybody as well. And it looks really bad, especially with the narrative that's been flying in the air about certain people owning Lagos and certain people insisting that some other people should leave Lagos and the rest. Those things just make this look worse. All right. But like I said, the government, LASPCA, says they are investigating. I would wait to see the result of the investigation and also to see the position of the state government going forward. They've said they don't have a hand in it, they don't know anything about it, but let's see the position that they will take going forward after investigations have been done and concluded. And I believe that, I hope that an investigation will be, freely and fairly conducted, and whoever is found wanting will be made to face the wrath of the law without, looking at where the person is from or who the person knows. Anyway, let's move away from that conversation to another. In a revelation, a major one, that has sparked a national outrage, Nigeria has once again topped the global charts not for something good, it's for the highest number of people without access to electricity for the third consecutive time. And this is according to latest data from the Energy Progress Report by the International Energy Agency and World Bank. Over 86 million Nigerians still live in darkness, surpassing any other country in the world, despite being Africa's largest economy and a major oil producer. And it's not just about oil production now. We also have gas, which a lot of countries have found a way to convert to, electricity. And we just flare the gas. We waste it. Basically, waste gas. We are in a tropical region where sunlight is an added advantage. Government seems to be interested in investing in solar, but how does this trickle down to the ordinary man? How does this, because solar has become very expensive, very expensive. I was speaking to my barber the other day. He had to save up money, almost $1 million, to get himself a little solar box and all of that. And he's been, each time I speak with him, he's just excited that, look, he's saving a lot of money. He's beginning to reap the benefits of his labor. He's saving money because he doesn't have to buy fuel. The other day he said, look, I went to the salon to get a haircut and he wasn't there. And this is someone who is always there bright and early as 7 a.m. He's there. And I called him like, what's up? I'm here to cut my hair. I said, okay, it's because it's you. Today, I want to rest, And then he came around and I asked him, it seemed like you had a good time, yesterday. He said, yes, he made a lot of, he cut a lot of hair. He made over 100,000 that day. And because he had been standing, he just needed to rest, And I asked him, prior to this time, I know you do a lot, you cut a lot of, people's hair and all of that, but how have you been able to, what is the benefit of this solar now? And he said, look, that now he doesn't have to buy fuel as often as he used to. Before now, for that 100,000 that he made, he would have bought fuel of about 30,000 to keep the place running because there is no power in the area. But now the solar just helps him, whether there is power in the area or not. He goes ahead, he doesn't have to buy fuel, so the money that goes into that stays in his business, stays in his account, and he's reaping the benefits of it. And that's what constant power does to businesses, especially small-scale businesses. It's unfortunate that government decided to place us in bands, band A, B, C, D, and the rest of them. And regardless of the fact that you are divided into bands and you pay quite exorbitant for electricity, you still don't even get it. You still rely on generating set. Fuel right now in Lagos is about 950 naira a litre. Now, for one who runs a business like that you need power constantly, and you are situated in an area where there is no electricity, you hardly have 6 hours of electricity in a 24-hour day, you end up spending a whole lot of the money you're making that should go back into the business on providing power for yourself. So the onus is on government to ensure, but unfortunately, government agencies, the discos and the rest, are not fixing the transmission lines. They're not fixing what should be fixed so Nigerians will have power. It's quite unfortunate. Oh well, I don't know if Fina has something to say in this regard before we go into the papers. The
only thing I have to say is the fact that World Bank is speaking out because they have invested a whole lot, into for Africa to have power, stable power, electricity power supply, and yet it beats my imagination to know that according to their projection, even by 2030, that they have to be their benchmark, that they were talking about even having over 600 and something million people still being without electricity. And it's also important to note that this is part of their SDG goal 7, and it's more like they're not meeting it at this point in time. But away from that, I would have said let's go to a quick break, but we can't be able to do that now.
Let's just dive into the papers.
Exactly.
From the Guardian newspaper now, we have these headlines. How erratic, it's about power supply anyway. The banner headline says, less for more. How erratic supply shortchanges band A households, industries. The window headlines, use presidential power to restructure Nigeria, create state police, Afenifere tells Tinubu. We have strengthened ICRC as engine room for infrastructure revolution, says Tinubu. SAN slams FG, alleges bid to divert Osun LG allocation. And, well, that's a picture there at the cover page, which speaks to the banner story, the banner headline. The cartoon there says, he should use his generators to supplement our supply or go to court. I mean,
as a bill is choking him.
Heart-wrenching, as depicted by The Guardian. Senate turns heat on NNPCL over 210 trillion naira audit mess. Cautious optimism as Nigeria treads new tax terrain from January 2026. Falano asks AGF to drop criminal cases against free speech. INEC to conduct by-elections, resume voter registration in August. PDP BOT opposes Anyanwu's reinstatement as court sets September 22 for National Secretary dispute. And the bottom strip, Marwa links 90% of terrorism, violent crimes to drug use. These are the headlines on the cover page of The Guardian.
The metric is up next, and we have the banner headline there to be tax reform bills will open new economic doors, business opportunities, and that's coming from the President Tinubu. Right as to that story, new tax laws will take effect from January 1, 2026, FIRS. Oyedele tax reform won't hand you cash, but won't hurt the poor. Tinubu rejected NDLEA bill over financial irregularities. The story is on page 2 of the Matrix newspaper. And we have other headlines just beneath the masthead to be Senate unveils new strategy to tackle mounting insecurity. Riders says investment in infrastructure useless without peace, security. Plans direct engagement with victims of armed violence. Senate issues NNPCL boss 10-day ultimatum over 210 trillion naira financial discrepancies. Rivers crisis peace looms as Tinubu meets Wike Fubara in Abuja. NJC retires Nzeuku, sacks 9 judges for 8 falsification, other offences. And we have the bottom strip headlines to be actress raises alarm over surrogacy exploitations, call for stronger laws. Dangote pride of Nigeria's financial market, says NGX Group chairman. Ronaldo extends Al Nassr stay, declares let's make history together. Those are the headlines you'll find on the cover page of the Matrix newspaper. And that's how far we can go. Taking a quick peep on the cover page of the National Dailies. We'll go on a quick break, and when we'll come back, we'll x-ray the first topic of conversation where the president signed the new tax bill, or the new tax bill into law, yes, but he also rejected the NDLEA funding bill amid surging drug crisis and tax pressure. Stay with us, because we'll look into this after this break.
Good morning. It's the start of a beautiful day. Well, start your day right with a healthy dose of news, fun, and inspiration. Join us on VOP this morning for the latest news, trending topics, and uplifting stories to set your day on the right vibe. From news and current events to lifestyle and entertainment, you are covered.
VOP This Morning, 8 a.m., Monday through Friday.
Are you ready for the extraordinary? Something big is happening on your screen. Introducing VOP TV. Now streaming on SLTV channel 264. From breaking news to captivating conversations, news analysis, giving you all sides to the story. We bring in-depth discussions on the issues that matter, from politics to sports, entertainment, and lifestyle. VOP TV on SLTV, channel 264. Join us as we redefine what television means to you. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
Voice of the People Television awuchiela onye nụ ya ka ọrụ ibe ya. Ị chọrọ ịmata akụkọ ndị gbara n'ọkwa akụkọ dị iche iche n'ala anyị kwa ụbọchị. Ị chọrọ ịmata ka o si afịatụ na ndọrọndọrọ ọchịchị, agụmakwụkwọ, azụmahịa, ime njem, ọbụla dị egwuregwu, mgbasonyere.
We are the station that brings you stories from the people's perspective.
We let your voice be heard. On Political Lens, we bring you deeper insights into happenings within the polity.
We create equality of representative opinion and fairness in politics, economic and diverse conversations.
Here, we bring you breaking news, fresh perspectives, as well as fact-based analysis.
Watch our extraordinary shows from the People's Voice, where we get to amplify the stories and concerns of everyday Nigerians to hashtag.
To Health Check, where we share practical wellness tips and bring you deep insights from medical professionals.
Maritime Frontiers, we dissect issues on port operations and more.
Every time we talk about sport, it's everything that has to do with sport from the top to the finish. Just be with us, stay with us all of the time. We give you sporting activities just as you unfold, and that's what we do, and that's why we are called Voice of the People TV, and you already know.
We got you all covered.
Here, you have more than a voice.
Welcome back. It's still VOP this morning. President Tinubu has signed into law new tax regulations set to take effect in January 2026, tightening Nigeria's fiscal net, but his refusal to assign to the NDLEA Amendment Bill 2025 has raised eyebrows. The bill sought to allow the anti-drug agency to retain a portion of proceeds from drug-related crime for operational purposes. Critics now argue that denying the NDLEA financial autonomy, especially amid growing demands for better funding and operational independence, is a missed opportunity to strengthen Nigeria's fight against drug trafficking, especially with the latest UN report revealing that over 316 million people globally, including a rising number of Nigerians, are active drug users. Meanwhile, economic analysts and citizens alike are questioning the federal government's priorities. While taxes continue to increase, there remains little visible improvement in infrastructure, healthcare, or employment. The signing of tax reforms without cautioning policies for ordinary Nigerians have triggered concerns about fairness and sustainability. With the NDLEA's funding blocked and inflation on the rise, many are asking why is the government tightening tax measures or struggling citizens while withholding critical support for agencies battling major societal threats like drug abuse. With us in the studio this morning, we have Barrister Asim Adams, who is a lawyer, a social and political commentator, and an analyst. Also joining us virtually is Mr. Somi Uranta, who is an activist, an author, serial entrepreneur, and public affairs commentator. We'll also be joined by Honorable Comrade Destiny Nabulere from Edo State. He's a former executive chairman of Ovia South West local government area there in Edo State, and also former member of Edo State House of Assembly. He's a public affairs analyst. Good morning, Barrister Asim Adams.
Good morning to you.
Good to have you join today's conversation.
Always a pleasure.
All right. Good morning, Honorable Destiny Nabulele.
Good morning from the cradle of black civilization.
Good to have you join today's conversation.
Yeah.
Mr. Somi Uranta, if you can hear me, good morning.
Good morning, a very beautiful morning to you and everyone in the studio and the man from the cradle of civilization.
Thank you so much. Thank you, gentlemen, for being part of today's show. Now, let me start off with you, Barrister Asim Adams. Yesterday, there was a ceremony in the presidential villa for the president to sign the tax reform bills, the 4 of them, now making them into, pushing them into law. But this actually have made Nigerians to come up to ask questions, so many questions. One of it is, why is it that Nigerians are being faced with tightening tax, yet we're not seeing any effect or any way for the whole thing, especially the economic action that Nigerians are having, to be cushioned? Remember that Nigerians more like provide everything for themselves, from power supply to security to everything, to medical, everything actually basically is being provided by us as Nigerians. So on what ground, again, are we getting these tax reform bills? And, the fact that there was a ceremony yesterday to celebrate the appendix of the presidential signature on it is what Nigerians are talking about all the same. What do you have to say about that?
You see, what I have to say first of all is that I've said this before, that we are not practicing democracy, but we are practicing plutocracy. You can see all the plutocrats were all gathered yesterday at the presidential villa and they were clapping. They were happy. All the governors, the ministers, all those in government who are the plutocrats were clapping and ululating the president, for assenting to a bill. What is the meaning of this tax bill? Is that more money for government for them to use or share. That is why you see governors, all the governors in Nigeria today, they tell you that President Bola Tinubu is the best president they've ever had. Many of them are even, jumping into his party because it has never been so good for them.
Are you not in support of the bill?
I'm not in support of the bill. I'm not in support as far as
because some have said, look, the common man will not pay taxes. The pay as you earn individual will not pay taxes, but businesses will pay taxes, and then the issue of multiple taxation will be taken off.
When you talk about businesses, a businessman like myself that has a small business that I run, government has never supported me in any way.
Yeah, but if you don't have up to a certain number, I think if you don't have up to 200 people,
how will I? If I have up to 200 employees, then I'm not a small business owner.
So it should benefit you.
It's not going to benefit me.
Why do you say so?
Good. Because, for instance, if you help me, I don't know how I'm going to put this. It's just like it's not like going to churches. I'm sorry, I have to use this for an example.
Okay.
The churches don't know how I make my money. They only say they pray for me. I go in there, suffer, go and borrow loan, or take loan, set up my small business. Then at the end of the day, you come and tax me. You understand the point now? No matter how little the tax is, whereas you have not done anything to assist me, for me to get, maybe interest-free loans that are reduced. What are you doing? I think, except maybe I don't understand the concept on which the administration has, set up their bills. That is number two, is that, let me tell you, for every particular tax that we have in Nigeria, they will tell you that it is going to favor the common man. The question we have asked is this: how will it favor the common man if, for instance, we remove this tax, but in the marketplace where I go and trade and buy and do some businesses, I cannot buy a bag of garri for like 10,000 naira. So what are those taxes that you said you are trying to eliminate? What have they done to us? That is the question we are asking, that generator of people are suffering. You take from, you give us with this hand, then you collect from the other hand. If you exempt me from paying tax, for instance, but I go to the nearest market here, I cannot buy rice, I cannot buy beans, I cannot buy palm oil, I cannot pay my house rent, I cannot go to school. So what is the extent of exempting me from that particular tax? These are questions we are asking. So we are talking about that the government, for instance, has focused mainly on taxation. Are you aware that this particular administration has 63 brackets? This is just part of it. This is just, you know what they do? They are so clever. They bring up the 6 song that will benefit you, is going to benefit you. Then the next one that is going to come on board will be the one that you cannot really
take. You have those. Can you share them?
Good. For instance, there's a proposed 5%, petroleum pump tax bill before the House. 5%. For every liter you buy, the government is going to take 5% of that particular money.
And that comes from the
it's coming free in the House. It's coming in the house.
User now.
To the end user that buys. The end user that buy. You understand? That is proposed petroleum pump tax. You understand? It's a bill before the National Assembly right now. Those listening to me should challenge me. It's a bill before that. Then you have, let me tell you now, look at what has come up here. The tax reforms. The president established a presidential committee on fiscal policy and tax reform with over 60 different taxes coming from different angles. This is just one of them. But they brought out this one to hallucinate and serenade us. So that when we hear that, oh, I'm going to get tax exempt as a small businessman, etc., I'll jubilate with them. But tomorrow they come with this. Now you go for that. Look at the Nigerian tax bill, for which they are working on right now, seek to consolidate 11 taxes into a single tax. Do you know what that means? Tell me. 11 taxes. You have this tax A, B, C. You put it into one. It might look very microscopic, but at the end of the day, when it leaves your pocket or wherever, you'll be the one to suffer for it. Now, finally on this, let me not take the time. What we're asking government to do is that if you can turn out 60 different tax modules for Nigerians, why can't you turn out 10, poverty alleviation modules for Nigeria to assuage all these things?
The government to say that they've been giving handouts, giving palliative. They also have a 75 million.
They are giving people fish to eat and not
that.
teaching them how to fish.
All right then.
You give me 10,000 naira, I will eat it, I'll go to the nearest market. He can't even buy me a bag of gari.
All right, thank you very much.
So that is my take. I may be wrong, but that is just my own take on this.
Yes, and we do appreciate your take. And now let's move this conversation to our virtual guest now. Honorable Destiny and Abulele, let me come to you now. Do you share the same sentiments of Barrister Asim Adams, especially seeing that these tax reform bills were debated? They were debated. Some town hall meetings were called, and Nigerians basically were made aware of what to expect before the eventual signing. Disagreements in the National Assembly also were seen before yesterday when it was signed into law.
Well, I can never agree less with Barrister. Yes, it's I love his line of views and thoughts. I must say very quickly, as a student of history and as a man from the cradle of black civilization worldwide, where the king is truly king. You see, by and large, they have said reforms. I use the word they. I'm not included, with utmost humility and simplicity. What parameter have they put in place to track these new, reforms? As we speak very just now, you and I know that the small businesses, they are suffering. What have they done to encourage them to strive in the whole of this? Let me quickly say this. You are a father, and majority of us in the studio there is either a father or a mother. Before you accuse your son or your daughter of not performing well in school, what effort have you as a father put in to encourage him? Did you provide an extra teacher or extra lesson in school? That has been what you have done your own part, that you cannot question the rationale or not performing well in school.
Okay.
For me, well, he said it during his electoral campaign that it will increase the tax net. So for us, Nigeria is not a data country. That is my problem. They are data very stubborn. It is accurate. We will tell you this is what you have here, this is what you have here. Statistically, what have we put in place to checkmate, or rather to bit by bit tell us or track the progress of this reform?
Okay.
Besides that, what defines a small business? I don't know. For instance,
What if I didn't know that I
number of
Destiny run a small
employees,
business?
number of employees you have.
Sorry?
The number of employees that you have, that should define, that's part of the definition of a small business.
So what numbers are they talking about here?
If you're not, if your employees are not up to 200, you're not within those that would pay taxes. You should be exempted.
Good and fine. But what mechanism have they put in place in terms of electricity? The first speaker made mention of electricity. That's the power, the roads, the security.
All right.
If, for instance, I produce, or rather, I'm a government of my own in my business and in my home, by way of providing electricity for myself, and in the road that leads to my business, from time to time I maintain the road or roads that lead to my home, then the government has no business taxing me further.
All right.
Because there are multiplicity of taxes.
All right, Honorable Enabulele, thank you very much. Now let's bring Mr. Uranta into this conversation. Now, with all these taxes, now implementation is set at January 1, 2026. And part of the reason for that is so that there will be enough sensitization before that time. 6 months also for the rejigging of firms and the rest, for everybody to align. But do you think, going by what we have currently, with Nigeria's debt burden estimated to get to 187.79 trillion naira by the end of 2025, if things continue in this trajectory, do you think this tax reform bill, just as against just a name change, because we have a name change, it's now Nigeria Revenue Service, away from Federal Inland Revenue Service, away from the name change, do you think this tax reform bills will help government judiciously, acquire enough resources that will solve the issue of borrowing?
Beyond the name change that you stated, rightly, we expect, the expectation is that it will help in the area of at least government having more money to take care of certain issues, that keep arising, in governance. But the question is, the ones we are having before, what have we done with it? What have we done with the money we are getting before? And now that we want to get more, it's not a question of getting more. It's what you do with what you have. There is this level of high level of profligacy, this high level of spendthrifting by those in authority. And no matter how much you make or you earn, if you don't apply it judiciously, it will go back to ground zero. You will not achieve anything. This tax reform bill, there are good aspects to it, and there are other areas that raises concern. But looking at the issues surrounding it, I hope we're not going to have an alpha beta situation nationwide. I hope that is not going to come up. I hope that people will not utilize it, as a way of diminishing or reducing the capacity of Nigerians, the SMEs, which is my own area, so that they'll be able, I want them to be able to handle it in such a way that the SMEs will not be suffocated. Because the way it's going, I don't know. It's up to the government. But again, yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, but again, there are the good aspects of it.
Okay.
Whereby they say if you don't have a certain number of, if you don't make a certain amount of money in a per annum that you will be exempted from paying. Won't it be, Nigeria? Would it be where people won't capitalize on it to sideline and dodge evade payment of tax and all that? But more so, the most important aspect of it is that it tells people the more you earn, the more you earn, or the more you put in, kind of put in more and you get more for the states. And then I believe it will also help to create competitiveness, healthy competitiveness, so that people will try to do more so that they can earn more in terms of the states, because the states have been kind of docile for over time, because they even feel that whether I drink spirits or alcoholic beverages or not, whether I will ban it, when others earn from it, I will take lion's share. So it helps to equalize things.
That's what the VAT derivation and sharing policy at this point in time, Mr. Oranta.
Yes, yes. So, but the most important aspect of it is the judicious use of the things, the money that is coming out of it, because people will begin to not feel comfortable paying when we have to, like, for example, if they can get some of this money and put it into electricity provision, constant power, and affordability of it. My small business with a few number of staff, I pay over 700,000 naira a month. How can businesses survive in that manner? So we are all our own government, like somebody mentioned there, is the fact. You provide your security, you provide electricity, you provide everything, you name it, water and what have you.
Okay.
So those are the areas you have to look into. Very important.
Thank you so much. Now let's look at another part of this particular thing that happened yesterday during the ceremony, Barrister Asim Adams. The president yesterday also decided not to assent to the NDLEA amendment bill, where we have the NDLEA calling for maybe keeping some part of the proceeds they got from drug users when they are being apprehended. But the president went ahead to cite Section 58, subsection 4 of the 1999 Constitution as amended, saying that that will be the reason he will not allow them to keep any proceed from this NDLEA, even when we know that maybe NDLEA as a body might actually be in need of some of these funds for them to be able to up their games and help cramp down the issue of drug abuse in Nigeria. What do you have to say about this particular one? And also help us, walk through what the Section 58, subsection 4 talk about in the Nigerian Constitution.
Well, I think the president has the right, under our Constitution, to either assent to a bill or not assent to a particular bill from the House of National Assembly. Even the governors of our states, have such intrinsic rights also to either assent to a particular bill from the House of Assembly of their state or not to assent. They will give a reason. Now, what the law says is that the president can exercise any of these his rights, but if he's not going to assent, he gives his reason why I'm not assenting.
Yes, and the reason is that currently all proceeds of crime, and the president is sticking to this, that all proceeds of crime must be paid into the confiscated and forfeited properties account.
Yes.
So the president is of the opinion that if NDLEA is made to keep some of the proceeds of crime, it may not go down well. Do you align with that?
I think I align, with the president's argument. Look at EFCC and some other security agencies or whatever agencies as we call them. There have been serious allegations, that proceeds of crimes are not paid to that particular account. Some people have, is it embezzlement or some have embezzled. The immediate past EFCC chairman, I think, is Bauer. He was being tried for some of all this. Even Magu himself, there were insinuations that collecting kickbacks and dipping hands into, the looted funds, where we now said the looted funds are being looted. You understand the point? So if you give them that open window to keep part of it, the Nigerian system that we know, somebody will come under that particular, law and say, we kept part of this, and based on this act, that is why we're acting this way.
So why don't the government look for a more proactive way to make sure that maybe the NDLEA keeping part of this process, actually they use it judiciously for their, their arm, or rather that particular agency, over the fact that we're having over 316 million Nigerians, according to what UN projected, abusing drugs or suffering drug abuse in Nigeria at this point in time?
The question we should ask ourselves is that why does the NDLEA suddenly just need to begin to put hands into, the till and begin to use it? Why, what has, changed, from the normal that we have been living? Why do they suddenly want those things? Let me take money from here. Why are they not contented with what, you know, and the operation.
After all, there's a budget. There's a budget.
There's a budget for them. Why are they not These are questions we should ask. So, is it two is that under our constitution, the NDLEA or any other agencies of this nature at all are under the executive arm of government. So the president is the head of the executive arm of government. So he has the right to direct. He has the right to also regulate the activities of these agencies. So me, I don't see anything wrong in it, because I feel that the reason why the president, you know, he refused to, you know, accept to that particular bill is for the fact that maybe he felt that if I give them this window, they can take maybe 60 to 80% of whatever as an excuse, and I say because of the act that was passed, that is why they are acting on this and taking these monies. I believe that is one of his reasons. I can't agree with him, you know, less. I think it's okay.
Let's get your opinion, Mr. Sami Ranta, on this particular one. The president said no, he did not, you know, append his signature on the particular bill that was presented to him by the National Assembly about allowing the NDLEA, you know, take a little money from the proceeds they made while they were clamping down on drug abuse. And now we know that this particular projection we're talking about from United Nations, 316 million, was as of 2023. And we know at this point in time, the case of drug abuse in Nigeria has also increased. Why is the government not looking for another way, a more proactive way, actually, to help NDLEA with their request? Since they are talking about the funds that they generate or the ones that they have not been enough for them to run their, you know, the activities of that agency.
You see, assenting to a bill or otherwise by the president, it is his prerogative to so do or refuse to do. And then he has given a reason why he didn't want to do that. But let's face it, in this country, can we actually say that these agencies do not keep part of the proceeds? We can't really be certain of that, because I've lived for so long in this country. I've seen the way things have been going on in Nigeria, and I can tell you for free that they've been keeping part of it. Maybe they want to legitimize they are keeping now, and so that they can also take it to the next level. Because if it's a season of everybody take your turn, share from the national cake, maybe that's what they want to try to do. But drug abuse, drug issues has not changed. It's been like that for so long now in Nigeria. You know, maybe because of the hardship that we're facing currently, you know, in Nigeria, maybe more people may have, you know, gone into that net of those abusing drugs as a way of escape from realities of life and the harsh vagaries of existence, you know. But there is always a way they've been getting money to do carry out their operations. Okay. I think they should follow that way.
Okay.
There's no point asking for to have a professional backing.
All right, then. Thank you very much. Now, let me come back to Barrister Asim Adams as we wrap up this conversation.
Okay.
I was going to ask you this before we went to, yes, what's the name? Sorry. Before we went to the virtual guest, Mr. Ranta. Now, even the confiscated and properties, the confiscated and forfeited properties account, we've had accusations of lack of transparency in that institution. We've had accusations of misappropriation of, you know, confiscated properties, lack of auditing in that institution as well. You know, so does it make any difference if NDLEA decides, okay, let's keep some that will aid us in our work, so that we can further curtail the exposure of Nigerian youths to drug, and these proceeds of crime being put in the confiscated and properties account, forfeited properties account, and still be, still having somebody get away with those things. You see, it's quite different, really.
See, there's no difference.
So either way, there is a possibility.
They just want to legitimize, because Nigerians are very smart guys. Maybe they want to legitimize so that the fate that befell Magu and Bawa will not befall them. The accusations that befell Magu and Bawa will not befall them.
NDLEA, you mean?
Yeah, that's NDLEA, I mean. They've seen the pitfalls, they see the holes there, So they will say, okay, why don't we smartly do this? And so that we can have legitimate right to now say, in case I leave office tomorrow and they call me to question, I will now say it was based on the law that I acted. Now, let me ask a very good question. And I believe that one of us here, my colleagues, asked that question. That has the account of NDLEA be audited under our Nigerian constitution? All agencies of government ought to have their accounts audited on a yearly basis, and not just auditing them, audit them and post that statement of account for the public to see. You might not come on television to post it, but let me key into a portal where I can access audited account of NDLEA, audited account of EFCC, audited account of Security and Civil Defense, as the case may be, their budget. But none of those is being carried out. So it's been an eye-cutting kind of operation, economic, whatever, or agency, whatever, as they do. So the only thing I feel this has come about is this. The NDLEA, for instance, I don't know what their budget is. I don't know what their expenditures is. I don't know how much they receive as foreign subventions or whatever from foreign bodies. Okay. UNIDO, ETC, for instance. The drug agencies, United Nations, ETC. They do their subvention on a yearly basis. I don't know how much comes to Nigeria and NDLEA. So it's an eye-cutting kind of
these
situation.
Are information that
those information are very important. You understand? So they are looking for ways, in my own opinion, to legitimize, dipping their hands now.
All right.
Even though we know that we cannot begin to say it's not, I'm not throwing an accusation to them, but we believe that even when it was not regulated, that they were taking part and giving part to government.
All right, then that's just an accusation. That's just
yes. It's just a commentary.
Yes. Okay. Now let's get into another conversation. The state of looking at the state of the nation, the statement from the president that public budgets alone cannot fix Nigeria. Oh well. Let's X-ray this statement from the president when we come back from this break. Join us again. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has stirred nationwide discussion after declaring that Nigeria's national aspirations cannot be achieved through public budgets alone. Speaking at the launch of the National Strategy for Financial Inclusion, Tinubu emphasized the budget needs for increased private sector involvement and innovative financing to address the country's vast developmental challenges. According to him, relying solely on government spending will never be enough to meet the needs of Nigeria's over 200 million people, particularly in areas like infrastructure, education, and healthcare. Well, the president's remarks, however, has sparked heated debate across the country, with critics questioning how such a statement aligns with the realities of widespread poverty, rising inflation, and limited access to basic services. While many Nigerians are demanding accountability, asking what exactly government budgets have been used in funding, if not national progress. Oh well, we still have with us Barrister Asim Adams, Mr. Somi Uranta, and Honorable Destiny Enabulele. Now let me start off with Honorable Enabulele. let's look at the statement of the president, seeing that Nigeria, government of Nigeria largely has borrowed, a lot in the name of executing projects, but we've seen a lot of these monies go into satisfying lawmakers, government officials, as against fixing certain infrastructure. In as much as in the past 1 month or thereabouts, the president has been, commissioning projects. But looking at all of this, the commissioning of projects, especially in Abuja and in some other states as well, how does that translate to development in Nigeria? How does that translate to Nigerians themselves benefiting from these things? And also help us run through the borrowings of this government since it came into power in 2023. Maybe we can make sense of the borrowings before we talk about the budgets alone not being enough to finance development. You might need to unmute your microphone because we need to hear you. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, hello. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
You see, I said it some time ago. I said, I think it was when I came to Lagos on your platform. I said, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu he's a smart man with utmost humility, but he's not intelligent. He's my father. I respect him for that. You see, when for me, since he made that comment, I've been trying to fathom, to understand the path of his comment. For me, I can't pinpoint. To be very sincere, I think I'm more confused, but not like that of the Edo State government when he was presenting a budget. But I'm more confused, to be very sincere. I don't know whether he is saying that if we as a nation want to have an headway, our budget alone, if we are sincere to the electorate, first thing first, we must cost of governance. I don't know where he's coming from. I'm going to be very frank, because if you look at the capital projects and every other channels of this, where the channels this budget to. There was some time I listened to the son of El-Rufai in the parliament, in the National Assembly, where he questioned some parts of some of the budgeting, like buying utensils, buying the laptop, that same laptop or office equipment were budgeted to in the last budget. So that's why I use the word, if we are sincere. Like when he came on board, that he with utmost humility, he was behaving like a boy on his 20s that is in love, acquiring yacht, private jets, and buying his bulletproof escalade. So if we are sincere and we channel our budget to the appropriate, not just political projects or hallelujah projects, to projects that are meaningful, that can encourage and bring the people out of their wounds, tailor towards production. I have been saying that as we speak, or rather take the budget from the oil sector, we go into agriculture. Although as we speak very just now, I cannot advise with utmost humility any Nigerian to go into agriculture because of our insecurity. I have been saying that. So if we can arrest the issue of insecurity, for instance, my humble self will go into agriculture.
But yet, in Nigeria, if you say we can go into agriculture at this point in time, Comrade Nabulele, this present administration, from what the president told us a few days ago, I'm already moving to procurement of tractors. Even working with one Alex Zingman for him to be able to distribute these tractors for mechanized agriculture. Bayo Ononuga also pointed to that direction, saying that that is one of the good policies of this present administration. So why will you say he won't go into agriculture at this time, even when the government is making it, according to him, look so palatable for Nigerians?
Yes, my lovely sister. You know, I said it earlier. I said we should jettison these hallelujah projects or political projects. You and I know that our terrain, as we speak very just now, is not conducive for a same person to go into agriculture.
So you're saying that the government is majoring on the minor and minoring on the major? Is that what you're saying?
Security. Will you tell the people living in Benue to go into agriculture? People living in Plateau to go see, we must call a spade a spade. I'm not here to be political. I'm here to speak the mind of the average Nigerian on the streets. I'm here. You see, we must, even to travel from here, from Edo to Abuja, I must call my Reverend Father to add me to his prayer point, so that I will go and come back. And you want me to go into agriculture? I use the word just as I said, we must jettison we must look at the situation as it affects us right now, and come up with policy that will arrest the immediate.
All right.
We must first of all, if we are sincere, tackle the issue of insecurity.
Interesting.
I think I read online that the Nigerian police force, they are planning to go to embark on strike. I think I read one of the senior police officers that retired, that been paid 3 million or 2 million, so to speak. So for us, if we are sincere, government is not for security and the welfare of its citizens. And as we speak, this is absent in this present administration and the administrations before now. So we must make a very concerted effort in addressing the basics that will affect the ordinary man on the streets.
All right.
Not those bourgeois in Abuja, those in Lagos.
Thank you.
I'm talking about those in the vast southwest, in Nikobazowa, in Okpekpe, in Akanibode.
All right, comrade, thank you for your point. We need to bring it back to the studio now. No, Barrister Asim Adams, the president, when he was talking yesterday, said something about how he has strengthened ICRC. And he has already given them the mandate to make sure that the public-private partnership is what would drive Nigeria's infrastructural development, especially the digital innovation and all that. Now, this particular one have made Nigerians to come and ask questions about what policies again is the government or has the government put in place for such move, talking about the PPP movement now, to be able to yield some good fruit. Nigerians are still battling the high cost of electricity. They're talking about taxation at this point in time. And then we have so many other things that Nigerians are not really finding it funny. And then we're getting another champion, strengthening of ICRC to make sure that Nigerians become, that Nigerians get involved in infrastructure development and, technological innovations.
Thank you. You see, the point is I have advocated that anybody that wants to go to or aspire to any of these political offices in Nigeria, be local government chairman, governor, president, let them go and pick the constitution before they even go there to say, I take this oath and want to be governor. Let them go and take that constitution and go to chapter 2 of the 1999 constitution. If you go through chapter 2 of the 1999 constitution, all these jargons, economic jargons, postbotonic jargons that they always come up with, these acronyms, PPP, ICP, whatever as the case may be. You understand the point now? Buy one, get one free, as the case may be. These kind of things will not even arise. We are not interested in this. Now, let me tell you, for example, Section 14. Let me even start with Section 13 of the 1999 Constitution. It said the essence of your being in government is good governance and for a better welfare of the people. Then Section 14, sub 2B, now says that for everybody, any particular person or group of persons taking government by constitutional means, the welfare and security of the Nigerian people should be uppermost. Then you now go through to Section 16. Section 16 talks about the economic policies. It says it's a cardinal policy. If you look at what the Constitution says, chapter 2 says, these are the fundamental objectives of any government in power in Nigeria. That is Section 16 talks about economics, like what they are doing now. Because what they are doing now is voodoo type economics. Me, I don't understand. I'm not an economist I'm a lawyer. So when they talk about IC, whatever they call it, I don't really understand the jargons. What we are saying is that Section 16, sub 1, 2, 3, 4, go down it. What he's saying is that the president of Nigeria, the governor of any state in Nigeria, the local government chairman of any local government in Nigeria must tinker with the economy of the local government, tinker with the economy of the state government, tinker with the economy of the federal government to the happiness. You see, the word happiness is clearly used there. To the happiness of Nigerians. Now the question I'm asking is this. With these jargons they are put forward and these acronyms, mumbo jumbo, mouth, goggling, acronyms, are Nigerians happier with the economy today? I don't think so. So for me, everything they have done, and since the Constitution says it's a fundamental objective, and you have not performed, it's a grant for misconduct or gross misconduct and an impeachable offense under the Constitution. So I don't want to listen to it. I don't even understand. I don't know what he's talking about.
Okay.
He was talking yesterday, even as learned as I am, I couldn't understand what he was talking about.
All right,
so it's a big problem for us.
All right, Barrister C. Madams. I would have loved to ask you this question, but let me take this one to Mr. Oranta, but I'll come back to you for your reaction to the same question. Mr. Oranta, I hope you're still with us.
Exactly.
Great. All right. Now, in as much as the president has said, look, budgeting alone would not bring development, let's look at the role of companies. What do you think has affected or prevented companies from their constitutional role of providing some CSR, corporate social responsibility? How has that affected development in Nigeria? And what can be done to ensure that companies that do business in Nigeria are compelled to to provide CSR to Nigerians, as that is one way that some Nigerians believe development will be seen?
Yes, you see, corporate social responsibilities of organizations are normal for any, in fact, even as individual. When you receive so much, you need to give back some. Even in churches, they do it as tithes. You give a certain percentage back, so that the house will be filled, with joy and happiness. But you see, when companies are not getting what they are supposed to get, when companies become their own government, then they don't feel any obligation to do more for the society. You see, that's why the ease of doing business, I think it was the last government championed by the Vice President, Professor Yemi Oshibajo, that they were mounting, this issue about ease of doing business. For example, you want to do business in Nigeria, maybe a company that has in their drivers, they have maybe 10 drivers in their pool, and they want to renew their driver's license. It will take 6 months for you to get a driver's license. Something in Dubai, just to renew it, something in Dubai, they can do it just in a matter of minutes. You just press and the thing is printed and it's just renewal. What about passport? What about, so when you create a lot of hurdles for people who are doing business, when they go through all these experiences, they don't have any reason to start thinking about CSR. Okay. So if you want the public or the business people, the entrepreneurs, the corporations to participate, you need to create an enabling environment so that they will feel a sense of belonging and feel obligated.
Creating an enabling environment, indeed. All right, then, thank you very much. Comrade, Honorable Destiny. Now, you are in Benin. We have a lot of companies, oil firms right there doing business. How many of those companies would you say have given employment to the youth in that region as a way of carrying out their own CSR, that's corporate social responsibility? And how has that impacted on the governance in that area? Should we focus on government all the time, or have we held these companies responsible for some of it at least? We'd like for your audio, please unmute for us.
Okay, yeah, you can hear me now, I guess. Yes. I was a local government chairman for 3 years, and I was the host to the famous, the well-known Okomu oil. You see, the issue of CSR, corporate social responsibility, it is your impact in your host community. I'm from the civil society angle. I work with quite a number of companies. You see, where a situation, a company decide to do some road amendments, fix lights, and other etc. What is corporate social responsibility? So some of us, I have led a protest against some companies. But when we get there, we'll sit down after the protest, okay, let's come and talk. And they open their books to tell you what they have done, XYZ, that in this area, that they have sought the president of government to come and help them, but they refused. Because of their businesses, they decide to help themselves. Is that not corporate social responsibility? So we're at the crossroad. That's why I was a little bit taken aback with that president's comment. I was confused. Even to this minute, I'm still confused. And after this program, I'll still do more research on it to know what he actually, perhaps he has given us another talk to engage our mind and leave 2027 alone. So for me, I must be very frank with you. I must be very sincere with you. I don't point accusing fingers on any companies. But because for you to survive in Nigeria, as we speak very just now, you must invoke the Holy Ghost Spirit to intervene. Ordinarily, you don't need that.
All right then. Okay. Let's quickly get Barrister's view as we wrap up this conversation. Barrister, now you've listened to all there is from virtual guests, corporate social responsibility, but we also know some of the hindrances where certain people in their own small space decide to tie a portion of the road. The pushback they get from local government and all of that, how has that affected corporate social responsibility? And what does the law say? That's why I'm coming to you now. What does the law say as to holding companies responsible, especially companies that do business in an area? What does the law say in terms of compelling them to give back?
PIA, the Petroleum Industry Act, it was a bill, it was called PIB. It rigmaroled in the chambers of the National Assembly for close to two decades. From 1999, that bill was before the House. They never found or deemed it fit to pass. They kept, amending and juggling etc. until it was now passed. And when it was now passed, we found out that some sections were now removed. And the reason also was that some other sections were now inserted to benefit a certain region, that is not part of the region where that particular act is meant to benefit. You understand? So these are the controversies we had. Now look at it. If I get you very right or correctly, CSR is like what they talk community relationship, etc. or whatever. Is it not so? Exactly. That was why Ken Sarowa was murdered by Abacha administration. What was he fighting for? A particular company A that has, degraded the environment. What do you need to do? You take billions out of this place. And at the end of the day, the place where your company gets its natural whatever is like a pigsty. They live in palpable poverty and grime.
Okay, my question.
And he advocated, do this for us. And that was what happened.
My question is, with the president's statements that budgeting alone will not solve the problem.
Absolutely.
And then looking at companies who are doing business in Nigeria, how can we merge the two? Government's responsibility and private companies' responsibility to come together and bring development.
Let me tell you, I participated in some of these things. I must be very frank and bold and also tell you the truth of the matter. That the oil companies, they do their own bidding.
Okay.
Do you understand the point now? They contribute. They do that. They pay.
They pay to government.
They pay to government. They pay.
Should they pay to government or should
that
they
is
just
the
carry
agreement
out?
they had. They had an agreement. That's the only way, because if you pay to individuals, the individuals will tell you, oh, why did you pay to a chief A? That was what caused the problem in Ogoni. You understand the point now? Because people thought that the particular company A were paying to some individuals. So you have an account where you pay this money, and that account is managed in trust for the communities. And I remember, I don't want to launder their image, a particular oil and gas company came out and cried out in River State and said, we have contributed our counterpart funding for this CSR, whatever as case may be, to the account provided, the trust account that was provided. And they showed receipts. But the management of that particular account now and the government, because mind you, the Nigerian government has a duty to also play in this. Okay. Because the NNPC, for instance, which governs and regulates the oil companies, for instance, in the Niger Delta, are signatories to joint ventures. Is it also? So they act, and NNPC is like a corporate company, limited liability company now as it is, a juristic personality. So if, for instance, company A is paying 40% or 60%, the NNPC should contribute 20 or 30% to that fund to benefit the community. Okay. Now, they have cried out that, you know what happens? The regulatory authority will force them and say you must have to pay your counterpart funding for CSR, whatever as they call it. The companies pay, they pay immediately. But there is no regulator to regulate the person regulating those people. You understand the point now? That is where the problem is. And when these funds are contributed, what now happens? It is a trust account and is controlled by government. They are the ones that will now decide that, okay, traditional rulers who are close to us, who support us, they are going to give you 100 million naira etc.
How would that not be possible with the permutation that Ogoni drilling or exploration is about coming up again?
It's going to be a problem right now. Let me tell you, it's going to be another problem right now. Ogoni might erupt if we don't put these things into regulate, or maybe, you know, maybe I don't fine-tune some of all these things. You know why? Because people are more aware after the death of Sarah Weaver. All right. You understand? So these are things that we should do. We should encourage them to do that. Okay. Because it's even an eyesore. For instance, you go there, look at a governor or a president visits Ogoni land, for instance, or even go to Bayelsa. In Kirikese, the creeks inside that place. And you see what is going. You cannot even say, let us see what we are going to do to elevate the surface of this.
Thank you very much.
So it's an emotional thing anyway, but it's a longer discourse.
Yes, I understand. Thank you very much, Barrister Asim Adams. Well, it goes beyond the Ogoni land. It cuts into every part of Nigeria because, some banks also are, are compelled to do some sort of corporate social responsibility, fix roads, put street lights. But then the question is, if they do this and government is saying that they are doing the same thing, what then would they say they are using the budgets for? Well, anyway, thank you very much, Barrister Asim Adams. We have to let you go now. We appreciate you for your time and your thoughts. Gentlemen, Mr. Uranta and Honorable Enabulele, we'd like for you to stay with us as we get into another conversation. We were talking River State. I wish the barrister would have been here for the River State conversation.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. Now talking River State, Rivers politics. Wike, Fubara, and Rivers political crisis after Tinubu-led peace. Let's talk about this when we come back. Join us again.
Encourage you to click on the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are Voice of the People TV. Also follow us on all our social media platforms. We are at VOP TV Live. Visit our website www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. Also watch us live on SLTV channel 264. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television.
We are the station that brings you stories from the people's perspective.
We'll let your voice be heard. On Political Lens, we'll bring you deeper insights into happenings within the polity.
We create equality of representative opinion and fairness in politics, economic and diverse conversations.
Here, we bring you breaking news, fresh perspectives, as well as fact-based analysis.
Watch our extraordinary shows from the People's Voice, where we get to amplify the stories and concerns of everyday Nigerians to hashtag.
To health check, where we'll share practical wellness tips and bring you deep insights from medical professionals.
Maritime Frontiers will dissect issues on port operations.
Well, Minister Nyesom Wike and former Rivers Governor Tinubu-Led Fubara have agreed to reconcile following a high-level peace meeting convened by President Bola Tinubu yesterday, that's Thursday night in Abuja. Well, sources revealed that both parties were tasked with outlining steps to implement the agreement, which includes Fubara's reinstatement as governor. Fubara was suspended in March 19 amid escalating tensions in the state, prompting Tinubu to install a military administrator. Well, we know the reactions of Nigerians on that. Well, they also, the suspended governor and the suspended State House of Assembly also had a meeting yesterday in Abuja, and at the end of it, we saw the governor, Tinubu-Led Fubara, and Martin Samewule holding hands and making jokes as well. Well, peace seems to have returned, or will return, to Rivers State. Well, let's start off with, we have with us in the studio joining us, Dele Fanimo, who is a seasoned reporter and a public affairs commentator as well. We still have Honorable Destiny Anabulele and Mr. Uranta. Well, thank you very much, gentlemen. Barrister Asim Adams decides to stay back. We do appreciate you. I know you have to be in court today, and we appreciate you. Now, let's start with you. What are your thoughts on this seeming reconciliation, and at what cost?
You see, we have been vindicated. When I say vindicated, is that I have spoken in various fora concerning Rivers State to say that Nyesom Wike and Sim Fubara are like Siamese twins in political terms. Nyesom Wike was the governor, was a local government chairman of Rivers State, and he nurtured Sim from the cradle of political experience. Let me use that word. Even when Wike was chairman of Obiako local government area, this same Sim Fubara was with him. They were all together. When he was Minister for Education, Minister of State for Education, Sim Fubara was also with Nyesom Wike. When he was governor, Sim Fubara was with Nyesom Wike. In fact, he became the Auditor General, Accountant General, or whatever, in administration of Nyesom Wike for 8 good years. And we knew how close they were. People criticized. I was part of those who was against, a Sim Fubara being made governor, because I felt it was an imposition. I felt that he was a stooge of Nyesom Wike in the 2023 election. As at that time, I was the spokesperson for BTC Tubo, at a P2B campaign organization in Rivers State, as at that time. And we were against the imposition. We called it an imposition. Because we saw that Sim Fubara was going to be like a puppet to, Nyesom Wike. Then,
well, he chose to be his own man.
You understand? But it's own man. Then, things now crystallized to the level we find ourselves. Now, a loyal Sim Fubara who kowtowed, who genuflected, who accepted his fate and saw Nyesom Wike as my father, and saw Nyesom Wike as the progenitor of his political family, suddenly now became atavistic, antagonistic, and belligerent to his godfather.
Preferred?
What I would have
preferred? Would you have preferred him to just fall in line?
Of course, because Nigeria politics is transactional and prescriptive. Let us not deceive ourselves. In Lagos State, where we are today, there is a godfather in politics. But whether you like it or not.
Would that have been to the benefit of the people?
That is what I'm talking about now. Talking about benefit of the people is a different ball game altogether. But coming to power in this instance, I'm talking about. If you want to be relevant in the political lithosphere in Nigeria ecosystem, you must have a godfather. We must not deceive her. This is the problem we'll be having. That you want to compare Nigeria kind of whatever to American whatever system as a case. Even Donald Trump once confessed he had a godfather. As the case may be. But in Nigeria, it is prescriptive and transactional. Let us not hide away from it.
Okay.
So when you have that, that is why you see, and Oshomole today can come in Edo State and say, he is bringing this, and the person won. In Kwara State, the same.
Where has that been in Nigeria?
It has not, now, vis-a-vis benefits and whatever as the case may be for the masses. It is unfortunate. It is unfortunate, but this is the reality of the time. So now, if you want to participate and get power genuinely, you must have to control. You have to a godfather. Right. It ought not to be. We are not talking about what ought to be. We're talking about what is right now. That is what we're talking about. So until and unless the people decide by themselves to say, enough of godfatherism, enough of God's son, it is as in Nigerian politics, and they not take the bull by the horn to not drive the godfathers out like what happened in Italy, then we are going to keep wallowing in this kind of situation.
All right then, thank you very much, Barrister Simadas. So I think at this point we can let you get back to court.
I just want to add that, let me quickly say that I'm very happy for my good friend, the Speaker, and all members of the House of Assembly. You know that peace is coming back to Rivers State. The proxy war that they wanted a Fubara to fight for them has failed.
You're insinuating that other people had a hand in all of this.
See, I wished I had enough time to discuss. I participated in it. I participated in some of the policies in Rivers State. It's not the war. I'm talking about what is happening in Rivers State today, the politics of it. Okay. You understand? Let me put it very straight. People like Odili, people like what's the name, Osrokpara and the rest of them, Limeba and the rest of them who are political enemies for Mehia, Amechi and the rest of them, they are the ones that aired on this feud between Yeso Wike. And when they saw it, that there was a crack, they lashed in.
All right, as a player,
and at the end of the day, you saw what happened.
As a player in Rivers State, how did you feel seeing how this conflict between godfather and son degenerated to the point where bombs were going off, gunshots were fired? How did that make you feel?
We felt very bad because this ought not to be ordinarily. In our own opinion, we felt that, oh, look, this is what has been happening. We know it's a mantra that is there. Even those who are against it,
and largely, a lot of it was put at the feet of the minister.
That is what they will say.
So you still feel like, regardless of that, he should have been allowed to have his way?
See, let me tell you, that was the agreement. We don't know what they entered into. I'm saying what is. I'm not talking about what ought to be.
What ought to be, okay.
I'm talking about what is.
And we are stuck with
There's an agreement, and that agreement between them is what is working out today. You find out that it was even Sim himself that went out, that started this peace movement, as the case may be. Because he even went out and told his supporters that, look, I am tired of this. Many of you don't even know what is between me and Yeso Wike. But Yeso Wike is a father to me, which means there's something that is underneath the labyrinth that we do not know. So when you begin to do that, if you walk on the surface, you might get confused.
Mr. Fanimo, you're laughing. Are you surprised that peace finally has broke out?
I'm very happy that peace came out.
So you were actually expecting this to happen. Then what do you think then will not happen to the supporters of Wike, supporters of Fubara at this point in time?
I foretold this. Okay. That Fubara cannot survive this onslaught. And that is what is playing out now. You see, the point is, the other question that we need to even estray is at what cost is this peace coming?
That's the question I asked.
The cost is weighing more on the people of Rivers State than the gladiators. Because give or take, they will ultimately benefit from this peace talk.
The people?
No, I mean the gladiators. Yes. Fubara will benefit 1.48 trillion. Something has to happen.
All right. Honorable Enabulele, let me quickly come to... All right, then. So okay, let me come to you now as we thank Barrister Asim Adams for his time on the show. Honorable Enabulele, now, do you think that, okay, what impact would this have on godfatherism in Nigeria? Is it a concept that we are stuck with? What choices do we have going forward? And what impact would this have going forward as well?
I must say, to be very sincere, I think we are missing it as a people and as a nation. The issue of godfatherism is a thing that some of us wanted to do away with. But with the reinventing in Rivers, though it's already there in Lagos State, you can take this to the bank, and I will say it for free. By next election, the issue of being subservient to their leader is going to be very paramount. Take it or leave it. Before anybody secure any ticket, permit me, they might take the person before the traditional means to say, oh, yes, you must be loyal. Not just loyal, you must be subservient. Underline. Is a negative to your leader. That is the issue. And it is one of the things that have put us back as a nation. Where go back to 1999. I don't want to use any particular state as a case study. We have had issues as it relates to governor and their godfathers. Let me use those states for instance. During my very senior brother, respected Chief Lucky Nosaka Regnation, and the face-off between the leaders of the PDP, headed by late Sage, Chief Tony Aneni, which later brought in your quote and unquote, the man in khaki, Comrade Adams, Eric Oshomole. It was a result of the face-off between that brought in the Grace Group, quote and unquote, no man is God. See, the issue is this. Okay. It is Lucific, according to one of my senior, and demonic for us not to encourage this type of politics and politicking.
Honorable Enabulele.
It's not politics of development.
I understand that there's a lot to talk about here, but we have limited time on the breakfast show to talk about this. We'll do more conversation around this during newspaper review, and I know that you will be with us at that time, so you have ample time to expatiate on the matter. Let's quickly run to Mr. Uranta. Now, let's have your take on this as we coast home.
Incidentally, River State is my state.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, so we are involved in a lot of things in River State. But you see, I said in one forum, I said that Alayi Fubara, the governor, the suspended governor of River State, he entered into politics as a virgin, but he has been disvirgined with the suspension and the crisis. So he's now coming back, as a politician. He's taking the baths, he has been fully initiated into the political circle. But my prayer here is that he should continue to do the good work he's been doing for Rivers people, because that is what endeared the people to him. He has a massive following in Rivers State, to the point that if he decides to join any party, he's sure of winning, as far as Rivers people are concerned, because of the kind of work he's been doing. So it's a good thing that they are coming together, because for now, Wike said, you cannot settle with me. What about the lawmakers? Even though the lawmakers are the puppets, Wike is the puppeteer. But now that he has, reached agreement with them, I can see a photograph where he's having a handshake, with the Speaker of the Assembly.
So, as far as you are concerned, he has now been baptized a politician.
Yes, he is now.
All right then.
It's a good thing that they are coming back.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
It's a good thing. It's a good thing. Rivers need peace and governance, democratic governance.
All right. Peace and governance is what Riverians are asking for. Thank you very much, Mr. Ranta. Thanks for your thoughts. Also, thank you very much, Honorable Destiny and Abulele. And we've also had Barrister Asim Adams with us in the studio. A big thanks also to Mr. Fanimo as he stays with us into newspaper review. Well, gentlemen, that's it on the show. And VOP this morning makes a return on Monday. Tomorrow actually, makes a return tomorrow, the Saturday edition of the program. On behalf of my colleague, Fina Okechiku, and the backroom staff, I'm Moses Humphrey wishing you a beautiful Friday. But stay with us, 10 o'clock is newspaper review, and we'll dive